Hello, Seahawk Nation, and welcome back to another edition of Seahawk Weekly, presented by Bud's Chicken and Seafood. I'm your host, Danny Solomon, the voice of the Seahawks, and as always, it is so nice to be here with you today. Joining us once again is Coach Russ. As Coach,
yes, sir.
A very impressive performance on Saturday, a dominant victory over number 8 in the nation. Yeah. How did it feel? What were your big takeaways from the game?
It felt great. Everything that we expected to do in terms of trying to execute a lot better than last week. I give our guys so much credit of how they were able to respond from last week. And even though we got the win, we felt like we could play a lot better. And so we got back in the lab. The assistant coaches did a great job of getting our guys prepared and ready to go. And our players did a great job of coming out and executing.
They did a fantastic job, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. We spoke in the postgame interview to Kedrick Burley, and he basically said this was a statement game. It was a bounce-back game after the Florida Memorial effort, let's put it that way. So how do you feel the defense did? Do you feel like they made the statement they were trying to?
No. I think they just continue to play football, just be who they are. Obviously, we knew we had to go back and kind of review some things, and it's some things in the pre-week and before the game that we wanted to do with the guys, and I thought they did a great job of coming back out and really reviewing what we had told them from the past game and not making those same mistakes. And I wouldn't necessarily just say statement. I think that's just them being who they are, who we want them to be in terms of being disciplined, detail-oriented, and making sure that's on a consistent basis. And so that's why I want to say so much of a statement, because hopefully that's who we can be all the way through, and just being consistent with it.
One thing that was very consistent is the balanced attack. We've talked about how important it is to have that balanced attack. You had 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 from Jaden Miller, another one from Dylan Simon. Then you had 2 more passing touchdowns from Shea Spencer. And I just want to talk about Shea Spencer a little bit, because we talked about him last week, but this week I felt like you utilized him in ways that we have never seen before. We saw a Philly special. We saw a pooch punt. We saw a bunch of different things from him. We even saw the old Tim Tebow, run up to the line and do the jump throw for the touchdown. So just talk about the versatility that he gives you when you're deciding your play calls.
No, it definitely helps. Obviously starting with Coach Knockin, drawing those plays up, but you still have to execute it, and you still have to have guys that can be able to, that you can trust to be able to do those plays. And Shea Spencer is one of those guys that has been great for us and is going to continue to do some great things. And but yeah, it just shows that he can do it all, even kick. And that was really big. And we talked about just as a team, situational football, and that really pushed them back, made them have to drive 99 yards if they wanted to score a touchdown. So just doing those things, and everything is so important throughout the game. And I felt like that was another pivotal point within the game. But I told the guys, that doesn't work if we're not able to, execute on 4th down as well. So because now they have to be ready for us to go forward, and we're very aggressive in what we do, and decided to, kind of play a little bit of the field position game a little bit on that specific punt, and end up working out. But at the end of the day, you still have to execute. You still have to have the receivers to go down and make sure the ball doesn't go in the end zone. It's a lot of different things, but it's exciting. I think we have a exciting, every phase was exciting, with Coach Knockin, the offense, the defense, the coordinator, Coach Davila with the defense, and how they were flying around, and then our special teams coordinator, Coach O'Rourke, and Coach Kelleher having a big kickoff return, and doing a really good job on punt. So I think it was a really good team effort.
Yeah, all 3 phases of the game were firing on all cylinders. And one of the reasons why the offense has been as impressive as it has been is because of a standout of Dallas D'Souza. You want to talk about excitement. That catch that he made for a touchdown, I mean, we submitted to the SportsCenter's top 10 possibly. It's just one of those things where you've got to keep your eye on him, because you have figured out ways to get him the ball in a variety of different ways, and he is electric when given the ball. Just talk about his progression throughout the year and what you see from him.
No, man, it's somebody, we kind of got on him because, trying to make those contested catches. And I think he's a guy that can take the, roof off of everything, and he's very very fast, and he's our, you can see, runs our big post and do a lot of different things. But we was pushing him and like, hey, sometimes you're not going to be wide open, even though you can run past people. And he just showed that he can, make those contested catches and, show a lot of different abilities that he has. So I was so excited for him. But again, it just shows that, the amount of talent that we have, but within it, how they come together and be as one. And I love our team of how they are excited for their teammates' success. And that it's a lot of different, receivers that we have that we can go to. It's a lot of different running backs that we can go to. It's an offensive line that has a lot of different guys that's within the rotation that have been doing a great job, offensively. So that's what we're about. That's what we're about, especially as a team. Not just offensively, but defensively and special teams, of that next man up mentality. And I think Dallas is one of those guys that, you did not know his name last year. Now you know his name this year. And that's one thing I love about it.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned the entire wide receiver core. We should mention, Smiley Edwards had the team leader in yards. Yeah. You also had Rico Portia get in the mix of things. I mean, this is a wide receiver core that, we obviously have put the spotlight on Spencer multiple times, but they do a lot in making him look good. Just talk about the receiver core and how important they have been to the success of this team.
And one thing I love about them, their perimeter blocking, them being physical, and I think that's one thing Coach Ortiz, our receiver coach, has really pushed on those guys. And receivers, man, they have a lot of different ways of how they can impact the game as well, not just in the passing game, but in the run game. And if you watch our team play and watch our receivers play, they're digging safeties out. They're cracking in the box and making sure that we can get the edge. They do a lot of different things, not just catching the ball. And that's one thing I love about them and our program. But it starts in that room where Coach Ortiz getting those guys prepared. And I just like the camaraderie, and not just for the receiver group, but for as a team. But just talking about them specifically, those guys just being happy for one another, and that's what it's about.
And we're going to talk about this upcoming week's matchup with the Seahawks taking on Weber International here at home at 6 p.m. when we return right after this short commercial break. At this time, Kaiser Athletics would like to thank our proud sponsors: Banyan Printing and Signs, Bud's Chicken and Seafood, Chick-fil-A, Delta Hotels by Marriott, Duffy's Sports Grill, ESPN 106.3 FM, FPL, The Hampton Inn, Jersey Mike's, Kona Ice, Lifetime Steel Buildings, McKebb's, the Palm Beach County Sports Commission, Palm Beach Juniors, Playa Bowls, and Rip Print. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Danny Solomon. He's Myles Russ, and you are watching Seahawk Weekly, presented by our friends over at Bud's Chicken and Seafood. So, Coach, we just talked about last week's matchup, a very impressive performance, 35-14 victory here over number 8. Now you've got homecoming, and you've got Weber International coming to town. What are you going to focus on? What do you think will be the key to this game?
Just making sure that we're consistent, not getting too beside ourselves of having a big win. And obviously it was a big win for us, but it was a win that conference win and everything that we expected for us to do. Now how are we going to continue to respond? And that's one thing that I've been talking to the team about. I told them, like, one of our biggest enemies, right now is human nature. Human nature, wants you to feel good that you just had a big win against St. Thomas and, a conference win, and you're 6-0 and everything's going good, and it wants you to relax. And that's one thing that is part of my job, and making sure that they don't do that. And that we're continuing to be consistent to how we prepare each other, how we're going throughout the week in practice and in the meeting rooms. And I love it because that's part of life as well. You're going to have some things that are going your way, but are you going to just be okay and settle with it, or are you going to want more? And at the end of the day, we haven't got to our biggest goal, and then we know what that goal is in this locker room, and we haven't achieved that yet. So now, how can we continue to get better, and how can we continue to work so we can reach that goal at the end?
I mean, you're number 2 in the nation, so you got to think that every team, when they see you on the calendar, they're going to circle that game. Weber International is a team that has 4 wins on the year. 3 of them have come on the road.
Yeah.
So they've been road warriors this year. How are you going to keep the team focused knowing they're coming into town as a better road team than a home team, and you've got homecoming night where it's very easy to lose focus in a game like this? How are you going to keep the team dialed in?
Yeah, and speaking about them, they do so many great things offensively and defensively, and they play hard. And I think this is going to be a really good test for us. And I give those guys so much credit because they're going to work and they're going to push you in a lot of different ways. But at the end of the day, we still have to continue to be ourselves and not get so caught up with the outside, not just it being homecoming, but everybody coming around. But that's football. That's part of it. But I like the test that it's going to show us, and I'm very interested to see how we continue to respond each week. Because everything is a new challenge. It's a new challenge each week of what you're going to have to work through and fight through as a program. And I'm excited for our guys for this week of how we're going to respond. And I'm watching, and I'm not going to allow these guys to relax. I want them to just find ways of how we can be better, and so we can be ready to go.
And it's going to be a game where you need to be ready to go because, as you've mentioned time and time again, the Sun Conference has gotten better and better. Yeah. And Weber International is a team that basically is a prime example of that. I mean, they had 5 wins last year. They have 4 wins right now with 4 games still left to go. So they've taken steps in the right direction. How are you going to make sure that you are not one of those teams that they pull a fast one on, if for lack of a better way of putting it?
Like I say for everybody, we're going to continue to work on ourselves. And if we can do that and play Kaiser football and not be anybody else and continue to focus on the details that we always do, we're going to see what happens from there. We always push process over results, not getting so caught up with what the results may be, but the process within it. And and that's all we can worry about. And that's the things that we can control. We want to control the controllables, and we can control of how we are attacking the week, how we are going to adjust to what they're going to, kind of put in front of us, and that's what we can control within it. So I'm really excited about it. Again, they are a great team. They have a Division I win against Stetson in the beginning of the year. They've been, that's part of our conference. We're going to get a lot of different styles of play, and they're definitely a style of play with how they work. That is really tough to play against, but at the end of the day, this is what's going to get us ready for where we want to be at the end of the year. So I'm excited for our team, excited for our coaches of how we go throughout the week and respond.
And one thing I do want to touch on very quickly is you have had tremendous support all year from Seahawk Nation. Yeah. We had a sellout, obviously, last week with the top 10 matchup. Expecting another sellout this week with homecoming, and the next home game that we're going to have is going to be senior night, which is always a sellout. So just talk about the support you have felt throughout the entire season from Seahawk Nation.
It's been so great, not just over administratively, on the other side, but the other campuses. That's one thing I love about, Kaiser, the different campuses that we have, and we're going to invite some different campuses out for our homecoming event. Also, we're the flagship campus, but just seeing the different support, not just within our community, but outside of, in the state of Florida. That's what Kaiser University is all about, how we can impact not just us, but everybody else around us. And we love the support that we've had, and hopefully we got to continue to work, and I think hopefully we can get some more home games, as we continue to go through this thing. And but that's one thing that I wanted to see, obviously getting this job 2 years ago, wanting to continue to build the pre-game atmosphere, and I think that we have done a great job with that. And but you have to have alignment, and I always talk about alignment from the top to bottom. And I'll start with Dr. Kaiser to Dr. Vaughn to Chris Swager. That helps. that helps with things, and it puts people in positions so we can have the crowds that we're having. And we want to continue to want more. We want to continue to build this program and the beautiful facilities that we have. We want to build it some more, but in order to continue to build it, we want to show that the support that we have, and that's been really big for us.
You can be one of those supporters if you want to come out on Saturday at 6 p.m. here to the Kaiser Multipurpose Field, where the Seahawks and the Warriors will do battle here Saturday at 6 p.m. If you can't be here in person, you could always tune into the Urban Edge Network or listen in on ESPN 106.3 FM. Coach, thanks again for being here. We're going to be back in just a little bit with Marlon Shadd as we discuss the defensive mindset entering the game. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning into this week's Seahawk Weekly presented by Budge Chicken and Seafood. We are now here with defensive back Marlon Shadd. Marlon, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Nice to be here.
You're one of those guys who grew up here. You went to Palm Beach Lakes High School right down the road. You get to play in front of the hometown fans and family every single week. What is that like?
I feel like it just builds a culture. Like, growing up here, it's just being here my whole life feels good. Just be able to show my talents here as well.
Yeah, and you get to do it, like we said, in front of Seahawk Nation and the fans and family. Yeah. But when you played in high school, you played mostly wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. So what was the transition like to defense? What made you make the transition?
I wouldn't say it's a big transition because in high school I played both sides, but in college I didn't really play defense. So coming to defense was a really big decision for me. I asked a lot of people. I asked God to help me make the decision, and he helped me make the decision, and it's paying off so far.
Who do you try and model your game after as a defensive back?
Jalen Ramsey. I'm trying to get as physical as him, but yeah, I watch him the most.
Hey, you've done a great job so far. You got your first career pick 2 weeks ago over at Florida Memorial. How did that feel?
Felt good. Like, it's been hard coming back from an injury, finally get back out there with my team to help them out, and it paid off, all the hard work we've been putting in.
Absolutely did. It paid off last week as well. You guys took on St. Thomas, the number 8 team in the nation, and you locked them down. Just 14 points given up to a high-powered offense. Do you feel like the defense was trying to make a statement? And if so, did they make that statement?
Oh, of course. We definitely needed to make a statement. I mean, we want to do that on a daily basis, but the game before that against Florida Memorial wasn't our best performance. So coming out, everybody really thought that, like, oh, they can get a shot up on us, but we had to just prove to everybody that that's not the case. It's still a lockdown defense.
And we're going to see that lockdown defense in action this weekend against Weber International. What is the game plan? What's the mindset entering this matchup versus the Warriors?
Just keeping our humility, being consistent, like not getting complacent. Even though we just came from a big win, just still, hone in on our details and get the job done as well.
I want to ask you about your specific goals for the year. You have personal goals, but you also have team goals. What is one personal goal you have for the season, and what is one team goal that you'd like to see the team accomplish by the end of the year?
Team goal for sure is just to win the national championship, of course. But a personal goal would probably be an All-American, first team or second team.
And you're on your way. You're doing a fantastic job this year. We appreciate your efforts on the defensive side, and we appreciate you being here for Seahawk Weekly. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
For Marlon and Coach Russ, I'm Danny Solomon, the voice of the Seahawks, saying thank you for tuning into this edition of Seahawk Weekly presented by Budge Chicken and Seafood. Until next time, so long, Seahawk Nation.